Toy Tractor Times is here at the 2018 National Farm Toy Show in Dyersville, Iowa, with Garret Mauch from Lamar, Colorado.
Yep.
And you've got a really cool display. It's a forage harvesting scene, and you kind of have all the steps of what a big farm kind of out in the dryland areas where you're from would go through and chopping corn.
Yeah, it's based loosely off of a dairy in southwest Kansas. The one dairy company name owns about 8 dairies, so they get a lot of chaos going on during harvest. They bring in 4 or 5 different crews. Each crew has 3 to 6 cutters, the one crew had this year, and they bring in all their trucks and equipment and just cut it down as fast as they can to get the moisture right.
And I'm guessing because we can see it's planted in a circle pattern that this is all irrigated pivot.
Yeah, there is no non-irrigated corn in my area because our rain falls about 10 to 15 inches a year. And because you have to get irrigated, they have to get silage from as far away as 50, 60 miles sometimes.
Wow.
So what they do is the harvesters come in, cut it like crazy, and then they unload at a satellite pit. The dairy goes in, puts in a scale, little scale house to hold the printer and everything, and then they just start making piles. And that allows the harvesters to be more efficient because they're not having to haul so far. They'll do this every 20 miles or so. And then the dairy in turn will haul the silage back out throughout the year to the dairies. So the dairy doesn't have any of the choppers or trucks for that. They just have their own fleet of semis to haul the silage to the dairy and then haul manure back out to the fields.
Okay, which we see here.
Yeah, because it's got to be a quick turnaround because they want to double crop everything. They want to get the corn silage off, get the field manured and worked, and get wheat growing.
Okay.
Then in the spring, they'll chop the wheat off and just no-till corn right into it.
Okay.
So you're getting 2 crops off every year. So as soon as the choppers are leaving, you got manure crews coming in. And like here, you got the tillage crews sitting, waiting, ready to go for the manure guys to get out of the way. So it's a lot of equipment and a lot of massive manpower.
That's my kind of farming. I like that. Well, let's talk a little bit about the steps. We'll start over here with the chopping. And again, you know, we talked about that pile. You know, these big semi-trucks will hold tons of silage, but it only takes a few minutes to fill one of these up when you're chopping 10 rows of corn at a time.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking yields usually around 20 ton to the acre, so in 5 minutes you'll have 25 ton on a truck. You know, it doesn't take hardly any time at all to fill up these trucks.
So I see you've got yellow trucks out here and black trucks, so it must be two different crews?
It's to represent 2 different crews, yeah.
And we can see the Kemper head here running through the corn. What did you use for silage?
The silage is Scenic Express blended turf.
Okay.
The fresh cut silage is like earth blend. The pit that they're hauling out of would be just the green blend to be more of like an alfalfa.
Okay. And now tell me about these trailers because they look pretty detailed.
They're 3D printed. They're to resemble a JBS chain floor trailer.
Okay.
Real popular silage trailer in the area because they're real heavy built and they can haul a lot of silage. Like in corn silage, you don't want to fill them all the way full. I mean, a load like that would be weighing in the low 90s, but they want the big trailers so that way when you're cutting wheat silage, you can fill them all the way up and still be hauling quite a bit.
And so I can see it's kind of a sandy soil and it looks like a little bit tough to get out and sink it in, and it looks like you have some sinky toes out here.
Yeah, we get some pretty sandy areas, so if anyone's ever tried to mess with sand, as soon as you kind of start to sink, it's almost like an endless pit. So there's always usually a tractor with a safety pole or rope or something out there to help keep the harvest moving as soon as possible.
So he'll just take this and back in, and we can see on the front of the truck a little hole there, and I'll grab that and just pull him out, and then he'll be on his way.
Yeah.
No unhooking or hooking, just lift and go.
With the tables all pushed together, I had to kind of explain to some people it's meant to represent 4 different areas, not one small area, because they couldn't figure out the multiple sprinklers right next to each other.
It's very cool. So, and again, you got the Zematic pivots here from Top Shelf Replicas, and obviously they got to chop around them and then move them out of the way at the end and get that last strip.
When they pull into a field like over there on that crew, they just make a couple passes around the pivot and then just start going around the circle.
So you've got a Landau VT out here. What's going on with this?
We use it right behind on the end rows to knock down the sprinkler tracks and just smooth it up for the trucks. Silage harvest is extremely hard on semis, so anything you can do to make it a little smoother for them, it's greatly appreciated. So we always have a disc or a VT following around each chopper. So you got the one here and then the other one that already got to the end parked over there waiting.
Yeah, they're pretty rough going over for sure.
Yeah.
And what model choppers do you have out here?
They're all 7980s. Started out as Erdl, stripped them down to bare metal, repainted them, redecaled them, added farm logos and numbering system on them, and then added my 3D kit with the railing, mirrors, and then bought the spouts off of Shapeways. They're fully functional, they'll fold up and down.
Very nice. And then we've got the other crew over here. This is kind of cool. You got some 10-wheelers getting filled, probably open a new section up. And
yeah, anytime you're punching a hole, as soon as one truck starts to get full, you'll just holler at them on the CB to start moving over to get enough room for the next guy to get in. Then one simple little push of the button and you never have to stop the chopper, and that's kind of how you want it to go. You don't want to stop unless you absolutely have to. And here they're staying off the corner. Out in my area, there's two types of fields. There's real sandy conditions where you don't want to touch the corners because they'll start to blow if you drive on them too much. Or there's a lot of them where they try and dry land farm them. And in my area, you're hoping for maybe 30 bushel wheat on dry land.
Okay.
So anywhere where you drive on that corner, it's going to drastically impact that yield.
so we can see the corner here's got the sand out there and it's drier.
Yeah.
And while it would be easy for the truck just to go off to the side, it's just better to be right on behind the chopper.
Try to keep the customer happy, so that way you can keep coming back and cutting again.
Well, as the trucks are filled, we're going to move over here and talk about the pit. So as the chopping takes place, you've got trucks rolling fast to and from the field, and I guess the first stop is to come in here to the temporary scale area.
Yeah, they'll obviously run across the scale. We've got the printout on the inside there on the table, so that way they can keep everything documented, know which truck number is hauling from which field.
That's a lot to contend with, I imagine, because you got different crews all coming.
Like usually you'll put on the side of the trailer even, you'll write field numbers, so that way whoever's running the scale looks up, they see a field number, truck number, and it just keeps it as streamless as possible. But as soon as they come off the scale, they come over to the pit. The pit always gets really chaotic. The dairies want it packed as tight and as firm as possible. So they'll put 6 tractors on a pile. It isn't that odd. I've seen as many as 8 or 9 on some piles out there.
It looks efficient, like they're kind of just doing a circle, and
our area,
nobody's in the way.
They just go in a circle, so that way you don't have to worry about whenever you're backing down, getting the wrong angle and getting caught up with someone. And the trucks know you start on one side of the pit, working your way across, and then start over. So basically, once they get over here, they come out here and make a figure 8 and start going the other way. So that way the tractors never stop moving, you're not shifting. They keep rolling nice, smooth, and streamless. And
here we can see that trailer. You got the live bottom. It's going to pull it out there, dump it right out the back, and just a few minutes, you're back on your way.
Yeah.
And then you got the traditional dump truck, putting probably about 10 tons of silage right there in that truck. So I know we got some 9Rs, and it looks like some 30 series.
Yeah, 4 95 60Rs and 2 96 30s.
Okay, so there's your 95 60R. And then the 96 30s, getting a lot of work done here. Got the silage blades on them from Grouser.
And they try and just slowly take that load up, so one 25-ton load, it would take 4 or 5 tractors to move it, just so you're not really overworking the tractors, and it just helps you feather it out real nice and easy.
Now you just want an inch. You just want that layered really fine, and so he's going to push just a little bit up there and feather it out. So after the packing and stuff, then you're also getting that ready for that winter wheat, and of course dairy farms have wild manure. I wanted to say one of the things I think is neat is why obviously today we have GPS and you want to get everything you can. Chopping, you're just inevitably going to miss a stalk or two. So you kind of have had that throughout the display.
Yeah,
it's neat as we see the tillage. So I guess we were talking about those pivot tracks. So here we can see where the pivot is kind of left a wheel mark all the way around. And you've got a Blue Jet tractor racer here.
Yep. Yeah, they'll typically go in with one of those real quick, so that way the manure trucks, or in this case tractors with the pull type spreaders, they don't have to deal with bouncing them, because you can't always make it all the way around the pivot, so you're constantly kind of zigzagging back and forth out there. And then it makes it just easier on everything when you come in to rip it, soil finish, plant.
Sure.
The tracks are gone, you don't even have to worry about them.
So this must be the dairy farm's truck that they come and get the silage with, and
Yes.
then they're also using it to move manure.
Yeah, they mainly use belt trailers. The one thing some people were asking is how can you haul manure and turn around and haul silage with it? Well, in our area, we get so little rain, the manure is really dry, so you have almost zero residue staying in the trailer. So they'll drop off the manure, run over to the pit, load up with silage, head back. And we'll
So we've got this flat bottom trailer here. You can see it's unloading, and then we'll just get back over here, and you can see them filling up the same style trailer with feed and hauling at 50, 60 miles.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of always think of things like 1,000 bushel trucks.
Yeah.
They fill up fast, and it takes a lot to move material like this. So back over here, you've got your pile, and I know in Kentucky where I live, we do a lot of chicken litter, and as soon as that truck unloads, you're also just filling that spreader up. And so you got a cat loader here. Are these Artec spreaders?
More of a Coon Knight.
Okay.
Is what I based them off of.
Sure.
There's a couple of them in our area.
Okay. Yep, the big industrial grade ones in gray instead of the orange. And so what's the choice on running the tractors on these?
The ones on the spreaders are 335Rs, set on the 30-inch spacing. That way it just kind of reduces damage to the tracks from all the stubble out here.
Sure.
And then for the rippers, it's obviously the big boys, the 360Rs with the big tracks for as much pulling power as possible.
And what kind of tillage implement are they running?
2730 disc rippers. It's the 7-shank.
Okay.
Mainly just that size because of how far they got to move around. Keeps them narrower going down the road.
Right.
Nice and easy that way.
So what, we look out here, a lot of activity. What's the standard size of a field under a pivot?
Where these guys normally harvest, it's full pivots, so you're talking 7 towers, full sprinkler would be about 120 to 130 acres, depending on how it would fit in there and if it had an end gun. And I went and rode with one of these crews, and in 4 hours we cut a half a pivot.
Wow.
So
That's
I mean,
moving.
they'd move right through it because the choppers very rarely stop. They have enough trucks.
So within 4 hours, you're also seeing these guys with the tillage and spreading coming in, or they're a couple fields behind?
When we were chopping that sprinkler, the one they had finished the night before, the manure guys were already there spreading on it.
Well, Garret, thank you for sharing this. Very informative. I love learning about farming in different parts of the country. Definitely a different way to do it, and very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.